We were founded in 1947. The Tech Model Railroad Club, or TMRC as we call it, started for the first 50 years of its life in Building 20, which was a place they called the Magical Incubator. It was basically built for the war as a temporary war building. So it was wooden. It was the kind of thing that no one really cared about, which was great because it meant that all of these students could move in and do things to that building that they couldn't really do to any other institute buildings. If you cut a hole in the floor, who cared, right? So the institute was very willing to let students do unauthorized things in Building 20, basically. So the Tech Model Railroad Club got its start in that culture of, well, we can do anything.
Many years ago, when there were more members to the club, we used to have work sessions essentially every night of the week, and we'd have very formal business meetings on Saturdays. Now we very rarely have formal meetings. Mostly we have work sessions, and everybody has their own little projects that their favorite things to do, and they generally do those things.
I really like the way you have to think about scale, especially when it comes to modeling natural objects. It's really amazing that you can get a piece of a branch to look like a full tree, and it's all a question of context and scale. It's a question of how you position it. Like a lot of the things here that are vines and bushes and grass and brush are really pieces of much larger types of foliage, and it's amazing how well that works, and you have to adjust your thinking a little bit and think about how can this shape work at a very small scale.
Like most model railroads, we supply power to the train through the rails, so the rails are metal and they're electrically conductive. But that sort of is where we break apart from traditional model trains. So traditionally, you'd get your little Lionel set under the Christmas tree, and you'd hook together all of this pre-made rail, and you'd put together a big oval or something, and you put your train on, and you turn the throttle, and it would just go. And that works great when you have 10 feet of track and you have one train. And we don't have 10 feet of track. We have miles and miles of track, and we have successfully run 10 or 15 trains at a time. We have what we call System 3. This is the third generation of control system for TMRC. It's totally built from the ground up by MIT students. It operates very similar to real railroads, and especially similar to subways. And basically the idea is there's sections of track called blocks, and every time you hit the end of a block, we just cut the rails, and there's a little gap in the rails. And basically each block is a unit of train. So there can be a train on the block, or there can't be a train on the block. And basically what we do is we have a bunch of complicated electronics that can provide power to this block and say, I know this train's moving along the rails in that direction. Let me put power on the next block. And then we actually have sensors that we built that can say, is there a train on this block? And if there is, we can follow this train around the layout. So we know exactly where trains are. We can give them names. We can track them as they're moving around.
Before I came to graduate school, I was living in a little town in California, which was a beach town, and there was a train tracks that came along the pier. And, people would be at the beach, surfing, doing all kinds of things, and the train would come by, and everybody would stop and look. And it's amazing. It's like you're at the beach, you're doing all these amazing things, but the train still fascinates people. It's this piece of engineering. It's part of a system. It's like a system made visible.
There are little jokes like Pessum Steel here. The title says the Allen Pessum Company. Well, there was a fellow named Larry Allen who was always very pessimistic about everything, and so that's where the Allen Pessum Steel comes from.
Modeling things has been around since forever, since the beginning of, I think, human thinking. People have been making models of things. So it's part of a long, long tradition of that, but it's also part of MIT's history in a very special way.